Hi, I'm John Arana, and this is Karina San Martin.
Hey, everybody.
And we are here once again at the Drop, dropping truth and bringing life. And we hope that today it encourages you, and if it does, then share it with somebody, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's the whole point of, being here together is it's just our heart to bring truth that will bring life once you hear it and apply it. And I'm really excited about what we're talking about today. Because it's about family and about how to keep your family safe and really how to protect your family. And no matter what stage you are in life with family, these truths apply, whether you're single or married, have kids. If you're single, you can do this for your family, your parents, your siblings. If you're married and kids, then, obviously, or if it's just you and your spouse, these are things that are super applicable. So I'm excited to dive into this here.
So we're going to start talking about keeping your family safe. We know that we're living in crazy times. The violence, the social media, the fake news and all this stuff.
A lot of confusion going around for us as adults and for kids.
Stress on everybody. And it seems like all the technology was supposed to make our life easier. And in reality, it's just added more complications.
It's that bittersweetness with it,
But I think that, we get into hustle and bustle of life. And we get busy and we have responsibilities, obviously,
bills to pay, things to take care of.
Oh my gosh, I keep reminding myself of the scripture, who much is given, much is required. And I told Karen, my wife, your mom, I told her, I don't want anything, and I don't want anything else.
No more
requirements on me.
I have been given enough. Oh my gosh, that is so true. That's so
So,
good.
we live, and it's easy to get caught up. And it's also easy.
Everything just keeps going.
Life
and
you're so attentive to surviving.
And
you're so attentive to succeeding, making it, that sometimes we lose track of other people around us. And we get off the rails, And so I think this series of talks will help us to kind of remind us that, hey, we have to stay vigilant. We have to stay attentive to what's happening in our family, to what's happening in our own life. Sometimes we just start leaning too much on one side, too much relaxation, too much food,
or too much work and doing.
Too much work, not enough fun.
Too much busyness. And it's something that if you're not vigilant, I like that word that you use, if you're not vigilant and you're not intentional with protecting your family,
what's happening,
with forming your family, with being involved in the progression of your family. That it's kind of like one of those things where, if it's left unattended, it only goes a certain way.
It's like I always say, everything that is not attended always goes worse. Always grows worse.
It's true.
But I think problems will come no matter what. That's just part of life. And I think that sometimes problems catch us by surprise. Sometimes we think our kids are doing great, and then we discover something. Sometimes we think, hey, man, my marriage is awesome. And then your wife says, hey, listen, man, I'm not comfortable with this. And you're going like, what happened? I thought we were doing great. But being attentive to what's going on. And here's what I find. I talk to a lot of people and I counsel people, and you do too. But what I find is that most people are so busy working, trying to make a living, sometimes trying to make too much of a living, that they get home, especially the parents. They get home and they're exhausted. They're too tired to play with their kids. They're too tired to interact with their kids. They're too tired, to instruct their kids, disciple their kids, that everybody's just kind of like going along, you know, and then one day you wake up
with the wind.
and you're thinking like, wow, we need to get our act together.
How did we get here? No, it's true. And I mean, the stage that my husband and I, Sergio, are in right now is, we've got 3 kids. He works a full-time job, and that's pretty demanding, and I work,
you work a supernatural job.
I work a supernatural job. There are no hours on my job.
No.
But
you got one job description.
Yeah.
It says whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes, whatever's needed, figure it out. That is my job description.
Well, I'm telling you,
and I will.
You have been. I am impressed with you because you've been brilliant. I'm serious. When COVID hit, you figured out how to record, how to edit, how to upload, and how to publish.
I've gathered all those files. And
oh my
deleted
God! I felt bad for you. I never told you this. But I was like, oh my God.
That's okay. I felt bad for me too.
Poor Karina, man.
But yeah, you just got to figure it out.
Yeah,
right?
No. And all these things that you figured out, the app and doing a website, I'm thinking, oh my God, this girl is amazing.
Oh, well, that's very sweet. But that actually, I think that whole, what you just said, that principle rings true to the energy that we need to put into our family.
That's
too,
right.
And it's like a lot of times, because we have our jobs that we get paychecks for.
Sure.
We're like, I have to perform well for my job because
I
could get fired. I could, and then that's a whole different issue. So it's true, like you said, sometimes then when we come to our home life, to our family, depleted and we're drained and we're this and we're that. And so it's very easy to not put that same energy and effort into the marriage, into the relationships with the kids. And that's something my husband and I we're having to learn even more now than ever because the kids are getting older. People say like, oh, just wait till your kids get older. It's easier. It's not.
No.
That's a lie.
No.
Whoever's telling you that, they just have little kids. They don't have big kids yet.
It gets more complicated.
It gets worse. No, I'm kidding. Not worse. It gets more complicated.
More challenging.
More because you're like literally forming adults,
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're having to really learn that we have to be vigilant. We have to be intentional with our marriage because the kids have to see a good marriage because they can sense it, especially now that they're older.
That's what they're going to take with them.
Mom and dad aren't doing good. And then it creates an energy in the house and then everyone's not doing good, And so first in our marriage and then with our kids, that's why I'm really excited about this topic because it brings so much health and
real life
and beauty to living life with your family when you are vigilant,
So the first topic we're going to talk about, which is a great setup, by the way, we set this up wonderfully.
Yeah, good job us.
Good job. Good job, Karina.
No, good job us.
But so the first topic is time and priority.
Yeah.
Okay? The Bible says seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. And all these things will be added unto you. So without getting too religious, there is a priority to life. There are some things that are priority. There are some things that need to be first. There are some things that you can build if you haven't established that. So what it's telling us is that we have to take time to establish what is a priority in my life? What is important to me? And like a lot of people say, well, what should my priorities be? And I tell people your priorities are this. First, your relationship with God.
Oh, yeah. Always.
Second, your relationship with your spouse. Third, your relationship with your kids. Fourth is your job or your purpose in life. And I think really people say, well, why would some mothers say, well, I'm a mother first. I'm sorry, girl. You were a wife first. So your husband comes before your kids, or your wife comes before your kids. And I think that's a simple, basic thing. But there's a lot of other things we need to look at.
Simple for some.
Basic for some, is a monumental task
basic
for others.
for some, but really for some people, like, and I know even like my age and younger, that's kind of a different concept.
Totally.
Because we put ourselves, at least for, for women, I think it's very easy to put yourself all the way into your motherhood.
Oh, yeah.
And to stop and be like, first I am a wife.
Hey, when I have time left over, husband or wife,
right.
or it'll go to you.
or and the thing, and we're getting a little off topic, but not really, but with women, because we do tend to usually run the household, the house and the kids and the chores and the cooking and da-da-da-da.
Sure.
I think that it is very easy, but it also could be dangerous for us to make everything about the kids.
Yeah.
Totally always.
Yeah.
There's a time for that, and a place for like, it's about the kids, but it can't be the norm. And then the husband or the wife, comes secondary to that. That's a very unhealthy balance.
That's a very bad balance.
It's bad for the kids.
It's very bad
because
for the
number one,
kids.
it sets not a great model.
And as the marriage goes, so goes the family.
Yeah, it almost gives the kids a little too much power in the home.
Absolutely. I read a saying one time that says, actually, I have a plaque in my house that says, is it in my house? I don't know, but it might be in my office here at home. No, at the church building. But it says the best thing that a father can do for his children is to love their mother.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's so good.
That is priority.
That's priority.
That's priority.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes we're, again, so busy and we're in such a hurry that we lose sight of what's really important.
Right.
Nobody gets to their deathbed and says, man, I wish I had more time at the office.
Yeah. No, it's true. And I think it is important to sit down and think about your priorities.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to the home and the family and,
and
even just your life,
you
know,
have to,
and saying, where are my priorities, setting your priorities.
For me in my life.
And then the time follows. Where you spend your time follows based on that priority list.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a priority that's healthy, then whatever your time is going to go to wherever the emergency is, basically.
Absolutely.
That's just how life goes.
I read this book by Stephen Covey, and he's the book is First Things First.
Oh, yeah,
and he talks about that you got to put the big rocks in first.
Right. Yeah.
And then the smaller ones and the tiny ones and then the pebbles,
Yeah.
And he says that's how you're able to attend to all things in your life that are important and that should be in that jar.
Yeah.
And so he challenges people to think about what are your roles in life.
That's good.
So you like, for example, us, we're a spouse.
Yeah.
Of course, we're a child of God, but
yeah.
we're a spouse. We're parents, we're friends, we are
pastors.
We are pastors. And so those are huge roles. We're daughters and sons. And so he says, if those are the most important roles in your life, then those are the big rocks.
Yeah. That's
and
good.
They got to go in first.
Yeah, that's so good.
And so, but we're so busy with the little things.
Yeah.
We're so busy with I want to watch that movie.
Yeah.
To the lake.
Well, I think the little things sometimes can feel so much bigger because there's so many more little things. Does that make sense?
Help me.
Like there can be so many little things that aren't top priority.
Okay.
And it's like we see all those little things.
Sure.
And we're like, let me tend to all the little things and get it out of the way.
Right.
Instead of this big top priority thing.
Sure.
And so I think that's why the priorities are important to have those set.
Yeah.
Because then that tells you, okay, if I have all these little things but I have these 6 big things and those are my priorities, then my time's got to go there first.
You stay focused.
And then the little things, if I have time, then I can, and those big things, when it comes to family and stuff, it's your spouse, it's your kids, or it's if you're single, it's your parents, it's yourself, how you're forming your life.
Yeah.
And so I think, even communicating that with your family is important too,
Huge, because if people don't know what's important to you or to the family, you know, and then it's kind of like everybody is a ship in their own direction.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
One of the things that Stephen Covey also says that I like it, he says, you got to learn to distinguish the urgent from the important.
That's so good.
Okay, for example, urgent, okay? Somebody calls you.
Yeah.
You're in the middle of counseling your child.
Yeah, right.
That's important.
Right.
Somebody calls from work with an emergency. That is urgent.
Right.
So sometimes we give time to the urgent and we take it away.
Right.
And that's when we start getting into trouble.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
For example, date night.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah.
Because it nurtures the relationship of the husband and the wife, dad and mom. But sometimes we're so busy with the kids, taking them to this and taking them to that and that birthday party and that friend's activity and this and that
you're left with like nothing, no time.
We don't take care of the important.
Right, yeah.
Because we're so wrapped up in the urgent,
exactly.
you know?
And
so
then things get out of priority.
They get out of bounds.
And then it starts to affect, the environment. And
so it's important to prioritize and I would say it this way, what's important to you?
Yeah.
You know, those are your values.
Exactly.
And so you set up priorities based on your values, what's important to you, and then you assign time to that.
Right, yeah.
That's where most of us drop the ball. Because we say, my marriage is important.
Yeah. Right.
But we have never set a structure to attend to that.
Right.
For example, Mom and I, it's always Friday. So, Friday comes around, the world's falling apart. Not my problem. My structure is Fridays is for my wife.
Yeah.
And I think the priority is important because it's value-based and it's what's important to you, but also assigning that time, that structure, is what helps us to maintain those.
Oh, yeah, that's super important. And
I know you know that because that's how you live.
Yeah, well, with date night.
Well, you tried.
We tried, yeah. The season we're in, I would love it to be every Friday, but it's not. But we definitely have a once a month where we go out and do something. We try to take advantage of cooking at home together or whatever.
But, I mean, you don't. It's not like you always have to have this big adventure.
The intentionality is important, and I think taking that same principle and being intentional with structuring time and priority with your kids too.
Absolutely.
And that's like the big season that we're in right now is, we've told our kids, we want to have special time with each of you. Me with them. One-on-one. And
awesome.
Sergio with them one-on-one.
That's awesome.
And I mean, to be honest, there's some weeks where we can't make it happen because it's just a lot, But one thing that I do with the kids when school starts is each week, 1 week I have lunch with Leo. The next week I have lunch with Grace. The next one I have, because that's what works during the school year,
Of course.
And so, but I think making intentional time and I saw this thing, I read this thing on social media one time and it was so cool. It was something about how you can develop more relationships develop your relationship more. And it said, never leave the house without one of them. For running errands and stuff.
Oh, okay.
It was saying
cool.
take advantage as the adult, the parent of stuff you have to do, but bring a kid with you.
Hey, come on.
Hey, I'm going grocery shopping. Do you want to come with me? This is just you and me time.
Without having to promise them a gift.
Right, exactly. Without I have to tell Evie that. I'm like, you can come, but don't ask me for anything. Don't ask me for cookies and snacks. I'm grocery shopping. But
I'm inviting you to be with you, not to buy you something.
But I would love you to come with me. And
I've
been trying this, and I noticed anytime I ask them to run mindless errands, they're like, "Oh yeah, I want to go."
Wow, that's nice.
But then we're in the car alone, and we're talking, and we're doing things together, and I'm utilizing that time that I just have to do something, but I'm bringing one with me.
That's good.
So you have to find whatever works for you in your schedule, but it has to be priority.
It has to be.
And
I wanna inject here that I think for me, and I think for a lot of people, the first thing needs to be your relationship with God.
Yeah, of course.
Because your spiritual condition affects your family condition.
Yeah, that's good.
And I think when we're off base, from God, then we are totally into ourselves.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing else,
That's a big truth drop
and,
right there.
And so I think that we again, none of us live in a perfect world.
Of course.
And none of us do this perfectly.
Right. No.
But it's the constant vigilance and the constant awareness that there's so many distractions, and distractions is my enemy.
Yeah, right.
And I have to work at staying focused of what my priorities are.
That's so
and
good.
That is how I protect myself, and that's how I protect my family from the chaos of the world.
Yeah.
You know?
That's
so
good.
I think that's enough for today.
Yeah. Yeah. We can't, I mean, before we started, I remember I told you, I'm like, we have a lot to say about this. So we didn't even get to the next one, but the next one will be really good. We're going to start
But
talking about...
the beautiful thing about establishing your priorities and your values and assigning time to them is that, man, you'll see the happiness, you'll see the joy, you'll see
the harmony,
everyone
and the peace.
feeling valuable, everyone feeling important, and I
there's a
think
lot of
that
good things that
again
come from it.
is an incredible value. Incredible value.
Definitely.
So anyhow, thank you for
we both
being
clapped
here.
at the same time.
And I hope it helps. I hope it encourages you, gives you some tools. Pass it on to somebody.
Yes.
There's a lot of people out there that really need and they want to hear something like this.
Yeah.
They just don't know where to get it. But anyhow, thank you
Yes.
for being here, and we'll see you
next week
at the drop.